Before we board King K. Rool's ship and slap him around, I wanted to take the time to discuss a detail about the game I find rather nice. You've probably noticed this, but with each world you clear on Kong Island, starting with Congo Jungle, there's a ship off in the distance that gets closer and closer until you clear the last world, Chimp Caverns, and can finally board it. Obviously, it's K. Rool's ship. But the implication here is that with each world the Kongs conquer, K. Rool gets closer to the island. I love this detail for two reasons. One, it's a great way of adding tension to the fight. With each world you beat, K. Rool's presence gets bigger and bigger, starting as a small blip on the radar until the whole ship is in view by the time you get to Chimp Caverns. It makes you anxious, wondering if you have what it takes to take him down after coming this far, even if the bosses have been a cakewalk up to this point. But my second reason for loving this detail is the relationship between the player and the final boss that this establishes. As you can tell by the map, the Kongs have traveled far and wide to reclaim their bananas, and the player has endured a plethora of challenges along the way just getting to this point. There's a clear sign of progression for the player, with icons placed on each world that you've cleared. The same applies to K. Rool as well. Again, with each world cleared, K. Rool's presence grows. Just as you're making progress, so is he. But, regardless, once the final world has been cleared, and most of the bananas have been reclaimed, there's only one thing left to do. It's a clash between two titans. And Diddy Kong, too. With that said, welcome back, Amiibros, to the finale of Donkey Kong Country. In the last episode, we cleared out Chimp Caverns, and are prepared to board K. Rool's vessel. Let's not waste any more time, and knock that crocodile upside the head. We'll take his crown, too. I mean, after all, he doesn't seem too bothered by being separated from his crown. After all, he's throwing it like a goddamn boomerang. Look at that. Just for that, Diddy jumps on you. How dare you treat your crown that poorly? Make for a bad king. Anyway, let's discuss King K. Rool. K. Rool starts the fight by throwing his crown. Jump over it, and then, once you effectively dodge the crown, just jump on him and you damage him. You cannot damage K. Rool while his crown sits atop his head. If you do so, you will lose a Kong and you will feel stupid. After you damage him the first time, he'll run across the other side of the ship, jump over him when he does this, of course, and he'll throw his crown, creating an opening for you to jump on him. The amount of times he does this increases by the amount of times you have jumped on him, up to 3 maximum. Once you damage him enough times, his next move will be to rain down cannon fire on you. Who's exactly tossing down the cannonballs? You got me there. It's probably the critters that are part of his crew. In order to effectively dodge the cannonballs, however, you either want to use DK's roll or Diddy's cartwheel and just go right under them. In my opinion, DK's roll is a lot more effective than Diddy's cartwheel, even though you're at greater risk of getting hit by the cannonballs. But once you effectively dodge the third round of cannon fire, you'll have beaten K. Rool. Time to die, you son of a bitch. Fuck yeah! Feels very fitting to do it as Donkey Kong. All the bananas have been reclaimed. Let's sit back and watch the credits, that are spelled with a K for some reason. Was the same person that was in charge of Mortal Kombat, or naming Mortal Kombat, in charge of the credits too? That's odd. A bunch of enemies that serve K. Rool made the credits? They made this game? What? And surprise! K. Rool is not dead yet. He still has one more phase to him. His final phase, K. Rool will jump to either side of the ship, changing his jumps from a long jump to a medium jump to a short hop. Again, roll right under him or cartwheel under him just to dodge effectively. And once you avoid his hops and his long jumps, all you have to do is just jump on his head a couple more times, and K. Rool will be kaput. Time to die for realsies. Fuck yeah! DK did it! Earn your last banana, DK. Cranky would be proud. Well, at least for a little bit. Well done, Donkey, my boy. Who'd have thought a young whippersnapper like you, turn page, could have beaten that bunch of no-good kremlins? You've made an old man proud. Go and look in your hoard. I think you'll be in for a surprise. If I had been playing, I'd have found everything. I bet you would, Cranky. I'm sure there must be some bonus rooms you haven't found. Oh yeah, absolutely, but I'm not gonna go looking for them. In my opinion, Donkey Kong found everything he ever wanted. We finish up with 48 lives and a whole bunch of bananas going bad. Yeah, because there's no way DK could finish off that entire banana horde before, like, they all go bad. Somebody get the Game Grumps in here to declare that the bananas has gone bad. But, that being said, that's Donkey Kong Country, everybody. Overall, it's a game that hasn't aged a day. It's still just as fun to play today as I'm sure it was back then in the mid-90s. From a gameplay perspective at least. Visually, being purely objective, I'm not so sure. That varies by the one playing it, of course, and I've already spoken my piece on the game's graphics in an earlier episode. Many will say DKC2 is the superior game, and I can see where they're coming from based on what I've seen in playthroughs, but there's still a lot to enjoy with DKC1, even if playing as Donkey Kong isn't as fun as playing as Diddy. The worlds, while somewhat generic visually, are striking in their own way, and host a bunch of fun levels. The animal buddies, while being seldom used for most of the game, are a neat inclusion and help spice up progression through the levels. Now, we won't be seeing the cooler animal buddies until DKC2, which is the next game I tackle whenever I decide to go back to Donkey Kong. I am looking forward to doing that game for the channel, but that won't be for a while, folks. Until then, the next game after this will be No More Heroes for the Nintendo Wii, but I won't be playing the Wii version. Instead, I'll be playing the port on the Nintendo Switch, so look forward to that. But back to Donkey Kong real quick. You know what I just realized? DKC1 and DKC2 is very much comparable to Terminator 1 versus Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Not in terms of like similar plot or anything, but in terms of how both are viewed. You know, for as good as Terminator 1 is, it's overshadowed by a much superior sequel. You know, in the same way that as good as Donkey Kong Country 1 is, it's overshadowed by just how amazing DKC2 is. I should stress that this is coming from somebody who has yet to play DKC2 and whose only exposure to it is through the many playthroughs I've seen of it. So take that for what you will. But DKC1, it is a damn good game that put Rareware on the map for a reason, and you're doing yourself a disservice if you skip out on it. Nowadays, if you want to play this game, there are options. You can play this on an actual SNES if you have one lying around. There's a version on the Game Boy Color released in 2000, with a Game Boy Advance version released 3 years later, with each one sporting additional content and tweaks to the overall package. It's bundled with the SNES Classic, if you manage to get your hands on one of those, and this game has been released on the SNES Online service if you're more partial to playing this game on the Switch. Lord knows that's more common than a fully functioning Super Nintendo. And what Cranky said right there when he said he'd beat this game using only one life as well as under an hour, that's actually the only remnant of a Cranky mode that Rare was developing for this game. But they figured because Cranky is an old man who can't really move around as well as Donkey Kong or Diddy Kong because he needs a cane, they decided to scrap it, and that right there is the only remnant of such a mode. Even in the Game Boy Color version or in the Game Boy Advanced version, there is no mention of a Cranky Kong mode. Instead, in the Game Boy Advanced version, you have a scrapbook as well as a rhythm game that replaces Candy's save points, because in the Game Boy Advance version, you could save wherever. In the Game Boy Color version, however, you could only save after beating a level. Still nice inclusions, you know, it's not like DKC2 where you have to pay to save, and I know that could be a massive turnoff for some. I know one of my friends who loves DKC2 swears by the fact that you have to pay to save is an annoyance every time he boots it up. But that's for when we play DKC2. In the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed this playthrough, and I hope you look forward to what I have next for the channel. Until then, Ami Bros, stay safe and I'll see you guys and gals in the next one. Take care.